Hi, Mario. Okay, earlier tonight I sent you an email containing 3 attachments. I've opened up the 3 attachments to basically show you what I want you to do for me. I have about 9 pages here from a software that we have called Housing Alerts. And basically what we have here are a number of cities. Housing Alert is basically looking at this information here. It tells you, which homes are appreciating. What I want you to do is to go through here and transfer the information from here and to this spreadsheet that I have right here, the pre-tape scrubbing. So you're going to fill this out. You're not going to be able to fill out everything, okay? But you're going to definitely be able to fill out the state and the city and various zip codes of interest. So you may have to expand this. For a given city, you may have multiple zip codes of interest. I'm going to show you which zip codes are of interest later on. Then the other information, you should be able to fill out. But there are some that you will not be able to fill out. So this is another spreadsheet that I have. It has foreclosure guidelines for various states. Okay, so for example, for the state of Alaska, it tells you the foreclosure type. You're going to put that in. AK Alaska is a non-judicial state. Okay, you're going to put that in. And then you're going to put in the cost, foreclosure cost, and these things. For example, if Alaska was one of the states. All right, so you'll fill that into the spreadsheet. On this part right here where it's asking for that. It does ask for it. Right here, foreclosure cost, foreclosure timeline, and you could probably insert another column. Right click, insert, so like that. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. So we have the cost, the timeline, and one more thing that you could insert is days to deed. Okay, so you would put a column in and insert that. Now, so there are other things that you will not be able to fill in, but the things that you can fill in for now, we need for you to fill those in. This you will not be able to fill in. Cash on cash, yield base, you will not. Truly a trend, you will probably revisit that later on. Property management rent rate, you will not be able to do that. Okay, but population of the area you will be able to do. Potential upside you will not be able to do. Median home base price you will be able to do. Okay, so you're going to come in here, you're going to fill this information out. How do you get this information? Well, so these are the cities, to go back to them. And I also want you to look at these. I know they're not in red, but number 4, 5, and 6, you can look at those as well for the state of Washington. Forget about number 6 because there's not much change. So let's Control Z. So we're going to go 4, 5. Whoop. Go 4, 5. All right. Click that. Why is it clicking 6? Forget Spokane, okay? No, that's not true. Keep Spokane because it's going, it's increasing. All right, so we're going to add Spokane for the state of Washington. So for the state of Washington, 1 through 6, these areas, Lewiston, Washington, and look up if there's any abbreviations like this, look up ID Washington to see what that is. You'll find out what that city. Just Google it. If you can't find it, don't lose any sleep over it. Just move on to the next. Mount Vernon, Washington, Anacortes, Washington. Okay. Now, once you find what you're going to do is you're going to go here. Let me hit Control N. You're going to use Best Places, I believe, right here. It used to be called Sterling's Best. Once you Google Best Places, you can put the name of the city. Okay. So, for example, as soon as I'm able to, I can put in Spokane. I'm going to give you show you an example. Spokane, Washington. You see it right there. And, it should, we click search, and we should be able to find out a couple of pieces of information like the population of Spokane and the median price of homes in Spokane. So here's the population of Spokane right here. Okay, and here's the median home price. So you're going to put those things in there, in that spreadsheet. Okay, that has the pre-tape information, so that you can fill in. Okay, and then, you're going to put in the city, the state, and all that. All right. Now, how do you find the zip codes of interest? Well, let me go Control Home to go back up. So let's go down. So these are the various states that you're looking at. In the state of Oregon, see, this one is nearly doubling. So let's add that one. Okay, so in the state of Oregon, you have Albany, Oregon, Bend, Oregon, Redmond, Oregon. Add those cities as well. Salem, Oregon, and so on. Okay, so those are just the cities. Okay. Anything in red, basically, you're going to add. Ignore anything else. Okay. I would add this one because it's basically doubling. Okay. Get red. So the ones in red, you'll be adding them. Now, I believe you'll be looking at 6 or 8 different states. I've already included the states in there on that spreadsheet. Okay. I put in about 6 or 8 different spaces for each city. All right. So I don't know if I have the state of Florida, the cities in Florida. If not, just let me know and I'll tell you the cities that you need to look up in the state of Florida. Now, how do you find the zip codes of interest? Well, this is where Housing Alert comes in. You're going to go to Housing Alert all the way at the bottom, so I'll hit Control End. Okay, and this is the URL for Housing Alert. Once you get to housingalerts.com, this is how you access Housing Alert. So you're going to get here and you're going to go to paid members login. You click on that. Once you click on that, you're going to input the username and the password. This is the username and the password. Okay, so once you have the username and the password, you should be able to access Housing Alert. Okay. Looks like I have to type it in. my password. Save. Okay, so now once you get to housing alert, you're going to go to this section right here. Quick start section. And it's basically going to show you exactly where you need to go to do what I'm asking you to do. There's a section, I believe it's the market finder, where you could look at the specific zip codes in a particular market to see how that market is performing. So I want you to go here, click on education and materials, and then actually it should say training. Right, so then you're going to click on white papers, and the white papers are going to give you, they're going to show you how to use this one right here, new markets and tools. Okay, and this is how you're going to target the zip codes. All right, let's wait for it to open. Is this it? So dream zip codes. So you're going to follow this. They actually show you exactly basically what you need to do, right? So you're going to use the dream tool, and then you're going to come over here, click on, zip code, check the zip code box. Then you're going to go 2-year CAGR. All right, so you're going to do that. Let's do that. So let's go back. Let's go back. Okay, one more. Let's see. I'm going to click on the dream tool. Once we click on the dream tool, I'm going to scroll down. Okay, you're going to click on zip code. Okay, then you're going to click on CAGR 2-year. Okay, and then you're going to search for the various cities in those states. So really the way that you do this is, I guess the most straightforward way for you is to, okay, so this is the state of Washington. So it's over here. Oregon is over here. And you could sort of see the states, It's kind of like very bad to read because everything is on there. But you could easily Google to get a sense of where they're located. So you could do a Google image search for how about this? Washington State cities. Right. So that's a map. It's going to come up with a map. whichever one is easiest to read. It'll probably have the largest. This one looks like it's pretty easy to read. So that, the reason why you're pulling that up is when you go here to the Dream tool, when you're using the Dream tool, you'll be able to navigate and see where you are in the state of Washington, right? So we know the Washington state is on the left side. So for example, if you need to look for Spokane, if Spokane is one of the cities on that list, yeah, here, Spokane. Okay, Spokane Valley. So let's Spokane. If you look over here, where's Spokane? Spokane's right here. It's on the east of Washington State. Okay, so when you go to the Dream tool, you just click on the state of Washington. You gotta kind of like zoom in. See, right? So you zoom in. Once you zoom in, my computer's like acting up. Okay, I zoomed in too much, so let me back out. Back out a little bit. So this is the state of Washington. Now I can zoom in and bring it over. Zoom in, bring it over, zoom in. You get the drift. This is how we're going to find our zip codes. Okay. Now you see this, how you're going to find the cities now, right? So one of the cities was South Bend, I think. Was South Bend one of them? Nope. Huh. I thought I saw Bend before. Well, anyway. Maybe it's Bend, Oregon. That's where I saw it. So this is North Oregon. So we have to make sure that we're in the right state. Mount Washington. Right. So the entire state is doing well. It's very green, and you see the numbers are fairly large. Not, they're kind of big. 9.5, 12.3, 14.2. So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for places with these kind of things. Only you have the benefit of specifically targeting those cities in the state of Washington. So you're going to come in here. You're going to look for Lewiston. Okay, and where is Lewiston located in the state of Washington? You're going to come over here and look for Lewiston. All right, see if we can find Lewiston on here. Is it Lewiston or Lewis? No, it's Lewiston. Okay. Worst comes to worst, probably an easy way to do this is to like go Lewiston, Washington. All right. Let me pause. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use a different city instead of state instead of Washington. So this is the one that I was using. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So I'm going to look for the city of Philadelphia. See, I've already done this one. Zip code of interest 19122. I'm going to show you how I came up with that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Dream Tool. And I'm going to come up here. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, so I'm going to continue to zoom out. Actually, show me continental United States instead of zooming out slowly. Oh, well, not quite as fast as I wanted it. Let me zoom back in. Nope. It's too slow, so I'll pause. What happened? It's still recording. Let's see. So let's click on continental United States. Let's see if it takes us back out. Yes, it does. So I'm going to show you Philadelphia. This is the state of Pennsylvania, as you can read right here. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to bring the state of Pennsylvania over and zoom in again. Bring it down. Zoom in again. Zoom in again. You see Indiana over here. Zoom in. I've zoomed in too much. Now I can't read the states. So let me zoom back out. This is New Jersey. This is Delaware. So you'll probably need to pull up a map of the US if you're not too familiar with it, with all the different cities. As you can see, Philadelphia is coming up. See Philadelphia right there. City of interest is Philadelphia. Now you see how Philadelphia is like a lot of blue, a lot of these pale colors. They're like right here. The appreciation is very low. Well, it's in between actually. So what I want you to do is to find out those areas that are like green, yellow, and this color. All right, so you're going to move it around, this map around the city of Philadelphia, and to see what's going on. And if you can see like the appreciation rate is 0.5 or negative 0.1. We're not interested in those. Okay, we pull it back up. Zoom in a little bit. Let me make sure that I'm looking at compounded, pounded. Okay. We pull in 191. Let's look at housing appreciation adjusted for inflation. That'll probably make it easier. See, it's loading. So those are the different areas. We pull up. And we see that like it's all 6, green and purple, negative. Prices are dropping in these areas. So we look around Philadelphia. Let's zoom out. Click my mouse down and I zoom out. And I look to see where I can see this kind of color, right? You see this fade right here, this yellow? That's kind of like what we're looking for. That is exactly what we're looking for. You see in the sea of blue, and pale green, we see this. So we move in, target in, looking at this yellow spot. That's how I came up with this zip code of interest. Because what I want to do is find out, let me close this one since I've already covered this part. What I'm looking at this, I say, okay, something's happening here because the prices are going up. The appreciation, the home, annual home appreciation is 15% for the third quarter. Okay, so color-wise, basically you're looking for color like here or here. So I'm looking at these two areas. So I would, write this as 19122. Okay, because I look around here and I see everything is 5, they're low. And then the other thing that I did also was I went to 2015 to see what happened with this color. See, it was negative 4.6 in 2015. Now it's 15.6, way positive. So because of that, I say, okay, that's a zip code of interest. This is what the map looked like in 2015, the third quarter. Okay. And in 2014, it's bouncing up and down, but, and if I look at CAGR, okay, see, this is 2016. Okay, so basically if you see green or yellow for home appreciation, now let's stay on here for a second. First I came here, I saw that this was yellow, right? I was looking at a bunch of them and I saw this was yellow. Then I went to 2 years, it's 5.1. So I go back 3 years, appreciation should be lower or around that. It's 5.6, so I go back 5 years. The compounded depreciation rate was 2.2. Okay, so basically it's going up. And we saw that in Q 2015, 2016, the 5-year average is 2.2 because we're going back because it was low. Two years, it's 5.1. And if I just look at appreciation, it's 15. So just look at appreciation for now. You know what? To just generate your zip code of interest, just look at appreciation. Okay, so if you see something like this or this, then write it down as a zip code of interest. Okay? All right? So that's how you find it. Now, the state of Washington is interesting because everywhere is kind of like this. Green, right? Philadelphia is more interesting because it's going from boring to interesting. So that's how you find these zip codes of interest. Yep. let me go move around. So let's go back to the state of Washington. Let's do another state. Let's do another state. We're going to go to Oregon, and we're going to find which city on here. Let's find Bend, Oregon. This is Oregon right here. Okay, as soon as this, see, Oregon is right here. So we're going to double click on that. Hopefully that works. Zoom in. Let's see. Okay, right there. Double click on Oregon. Now you see how, like, just looking from this far, it's green and yellow. So let's zoom in. The whole state is green and yellow. See that? Green and yellow. And we're going to use this map to really guide us. Like this color right here means, you know, there's a lot of appreciation, right? More than 18%. So if we find something like this, we look around, we see, bright colors. Look at this. 18%. 18.4% for this area. And then over here we see 14.2%. But don't pay attention to that. What you need to pay attention to are the cities that I have on the map. Once you go to those cities, they'll lead you. Okay, so use the map to find out where those cities are, and then find the zip codes of interest in those areas. Okay. So basically what you would do is you look for Bend, Oregon, somewhere around here. This is Redmond. I believe Redmond was one of the locations, one of the cities. Okay, it's still loading. Zoom out. So this is zip code of interest 9756. 7756. Again, you have to find Bend, Oregon. I don't see Bend, Oregon here, but you know, I'm shooting a video, so you'll have a little bit more time to look around. Really, the smartest thing to do is to do what I showed you before with Google Images or Maps, and basically Google, you know, Bend, Oregon on a map of Indiana. I'm sorry, of Oregon. Right, so you're going to do that to find the zip code of interest for all these cities, and all these cities in red. Okay, so that's for Washington, the state of Washington. Oregon, you have 3. And, you know, looks like you have, you know, a couple more. All right. So fill these out, and then fill out the rest of the information for the tape. Okay, the other stuff will be easy to do. You know, it's fairly straightforward. You should be able to find these things, like the median home price, population, fairly, you know, you should be able to do that fairly quickly. This will come later. Okay. Closure timeline, cost, and all those things you can fill in. All right. So that's everything. I don't know if I talked about Trulia, the heat map. No, I don't believe I did. Or did I? I don't think I did. So if you know what? Regarding the zip codes, I have an idea, Mariel, that may save you a lot of time. I have an idea. Let's see this website right here. Look, how about this? There you go. Saved you a lot. So what you're going to do here then is click here. And it's going to tell you all the zip codes of interest. Okay. Then you're going to go here. And if you read the white paper, there's a way that you could put in the specific zip code. There is a way that you can do it. You could look for a specific zip code and see if it's a zip code of interest. That's definitely the easiest way to do it. Instead of like trying to look for the map and all that, we have the city, right? Lewiston, for instance, or Pocatello, Idaho. Just go in here. Okay, and then once you do that, it's fairly straightforward. All right. Zip codes. Read the white paper. I think I'm going to send that to you because I didn't send it to you. If you go here, quick start, education, you scroll down, white paper. I think it's the first one that says market and new. And then this thing should open up. You scroll down. Check to show zip codes. There should be a way to add in the specific zip code. Come on. Custom analysis and charts. Direct selection. Add zip code maps to custom analysis using direct selection map. Custom analysis charts. Okay. I think that's it. How do you do that? Add zip code markets to custom analysis using direct selection or map. Let's see. There it is. Enter it's on page 4. I'm going to send this to you. So you can add the zip code Okay. Voila. Or select zip codes using map. Okay, so this will help you. I'm going to download this and email it to you. All right. Let's see. Okay, that's it, Mario. I'll be sending this to you. All right. That should be everything.